Hey YouTube, this is part 2 in the building of my self-moving chicken tractor. If you haven't seen part 1, click on the link in the upper right hand corner. In that video I talked about getting the motors and testing it out, hooking it up to the remote control, things like that. In this video I'm going to go over how I hooked all the motors together and the wiring and some of the framing. Enjoy! Alright, here's my plan as it stands right now. I'm still figuring this out as I go, so I'll probably make changes to this. But what I did was I grabbed the caster wheels. Let's see, one there, they're way down there in the corner. My workspace is a mess right now, but this thing's taking up a lot of space. So I could put caster wheels in it. Those two down there are where I'm going to leave them. I've already screwed them in place, but these ones are just temporarily here. I'm going to eventually probably move those down kind of mid-coop. But that gives you an idea that this space right here is going to be the area where obviously the motors are going to go. I already kind of have those mocked up. Also the batteries will go here, the controllers will go here to power the motors, and then above that will be the actual coop itself. So anyway, this is the part that's going to get framed in with the indoor part of the coop, and then everything back there will be the outside part of the coop. Now what I have to do is I'm just worried that this thing's not going to move very well with just 2 motors, so I'm going to do 4 motors. I've got 2 more wheelchair motors that I'm going to use. So these 2 I just put in place temporarily. Hang on, let me grab this really quickly. I want to show you guys. I cut these brackets off of the wheelchairs themselves, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. For some reason I cannot weld to this. You can kind of see the burn marks where I was trying to weld to it. I'm not a good welder. I'm sure anybody who watches this video who knows how to weld will immediately know what I did wrong, but anyway, I couldn't weld to this. So I made my own, but the plan is that I'm going to make my own bracket here, which like I said I already made one. I'm going to weld, I'm going to bolt that into these 6 holes. I'm going to weld a piece of 1-inch square tube to the top of that, and that's going to run over. And then let me show you, this is what the other wheelchair motor looked like originally. This is where one of those caster wheels was. So I'm going to show you what I did was I chopped off this angle piece right here, and then I cut a 1-inch channel open in the top of this. So the plan is that the 1-inch square tube that goes on top of here will run over and will then get welded in right on the top here. So I can remove 3 bolts on this motor if I ever have to do anything to fix that motor, and then I can remove 6 bolts on this motor if I ever need to remove that one. I hope I never need to, but if I do, I can take it apart. So here's where I am on this side. So you see that 1-inch channel that I cut in here? I already test fit that my 1-inch channel fits in there perfectly. I've actually already started to grind this down too to get it ready for welding. And then here is that bracket that I made. It's quite a bit bigger and more sturdy than the one that I cut off anyway, so the fact that I couldn't weld to that one will probably benefit me in the long run. So that will get bolted on right there. There's just enough space. Here, let me grab a piece of square stock and I'll show you. So that will get welded on right there. And then this is just a test piece, so it'll need to be longer. It will get welded in right there as well. You can see it's a good tight fit, so I can weld both sides of it. And that should give me my nice level platform between the 2 motors. And so these 2 motors will be over here. These 2 motors will be over here. And then what I need to do is, obviously, let me step back here. I need to connect all 4 motors together, build a frame. To do that, you can see right there, I bought a pile of steel, so I've got some options on that. So my plan is connect these 4 together, and then I'm not sure exactly how yet, but then I need to take that frame that I've built for the 4 motors and then connect it to the wooden frame. I'm going to probably use some angle iron to do that, but I'm going to keep going on what I just described to you guys, and then I'll turn the video back on when it's ready to show you the next update. this is where I've got the frame at. I think this is where I'm going to leave it. I'm pretty comfortable and pretty happy with how this has turned out. I've got this cross piece welded in right through the middle, just a piece of angle iron. Back here it just rests on the 2x4 that's underneath, but the frame's attached underneath that. And so here you go. As far as strength is concerned, I weigh a little over 200 pounds. Has no problem holding me. Can even bounce on it. Still very sturdy, so I'm pretty confident this is going to work. If anything were to fail, I would guess that one of my welds might. I'm definitely not a very good welder, but only time will tell. We'll find out. To wire up the motors in a more permanent manner, I'm going to reuse the connections that were on the wheelchairs. Because I took apart 2 wheelchairs, I have 2 different connectors, but they're actually almost identical. Colors are different, and they're actually slightly different sizes, but they look almost the same. Anyway, I've got exactly enough, because I have 4 motors, the same 4 motors that were on the wheelchairs, so I have exactly enough to do all of the wiring. So the plan is that I'll cut each harness, I'll solder these 2 wires onto each pair of wires for the motors so that I have good connectors. Then I'm going to have to make a adapter piece, or a harness I guess is a better term for it, which will connect all 4 motors together into one positive, one negative power harness to hook to the battery. I'm going to start out by powering this just with 12 volts, and I think that's going to be all I need because I don't need this to move very fast. But it'll be easy down the road to switch it to 24 if I need to. I'll make the harness long enough so the cables can reach to a second battery if I decide I need to do that. The wiring's done. On each side, each motor has a quick disconnect. There, right there. Same thing over here, so I can disconnect each motor independently. They run over just 2 wires, go over into the Sabertooth. I had to modify these connectors in order to fit in there. I might change that later, but I think it'll work for now. And then the 2 cables come up to my battery. Pretty sure I'm just going to need the 12 volt, so this will be my first test with the 12 volt. And right now I've got this temporarily screwed down. I'm going to have to get something else for a weatherproof enclosure there. All of this area is going to be closed in from the weather anyway, but just in case somehow, a strong wind doesn't blow some water underneath here and get things wet, I'll do something for a waterproof enclosure there. Alright, that's the end of part 2. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, I appreciate if you want to subscribe or share the video. I'm going to do one more video in this series where I'll actually just show framing of the coupe, the water system, the electric system, the fencing, all those pieces all coming together, and then the final product. Again, thanks for watching.